Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics round 24 Q&A, the final round of the season, and the final Q&A for the season as well. It's come very, very fast, but answering plenty of your questions tonight. And you can only see me on the thing, but it's because a bit of a special one. Didn't tweet it out today. Obviously, I'm in a different setup, but joining me actually in person in Adelaide is my co-host and fellow AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Jordox. Mate, how are you?
I'm good, mate. It's a bit improvised.
Actually, we'll adjust the camera for people that are listening on the pod as well. We're in person. First ever podcast we're actually doing in person. So, mate, season is nearly over.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Yep. So last week, we thought we'd do something special. No, I'm here for business reasons, but we caught up for a bite time. We thought let's do the pod live in person. So it's hard to believe it's the last week of the season. It kind of, I don't know, for a few people whose ranks haven't been where they'd want it to be, the last few weeks have kind of dragged a bit. So part of me is looking forward to it being over, just to have a break. But then I know the second it's over, I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about the Content Creators Cup, so that's one thing we're not going to be touching on. But no, congrats to Luke again. Obviously, we'll be chatting to him at some point in the near future because obviously, congrats to him for winning that. So, so in terms of, we've got obviously one round left. What are your plans with your final two trades? Obviously, we're probably looking at, we've obviously all the teams are all right, grade and everything like that. It's probably luxury trading. You're probably looking at good matchups for this week. Is there sort of some players in mind that you're looking at and sort of players you're looking at trading out? So, what are your thoughts with your trades currently for round 24?
Well, in true form, I'm not too sure yet exactly what I'm doing. But I do know I want to have some fun with it, and there's someone we're going to talk about with some interesting news at West Coast. So we'll touch on that shortly. But I'll be looking to do something fun, something a bit different.
Yeah, I think that'll be something I'm looking at doing as well. And also people that are tuning in live, let us know that the microphone is working and you can hear us properly because this is very improvised and so this is what we're doing. But we'll go through a couple of options, then we'll get to people's questions. So who are you looking at? Who do you reckon have got the good fixtures this week?
Well, I like I was just touching on, Jeremy Cameron is something different. So his name's come up a few times in the last few weeks, and I've been hesitant because I don't know if I'd want to ride that wave for more than just 1 week. But this week is the week. They're playing the Eagles, and who's out? Barras, McGovern, I think it was. So Jezza could have a lot of fun. So he's probably someone I'm looking at. But apart from that, I don't know. I haven't done too much looking into who to bring in. It's probably more about who I'm getting rid of.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty much on AFLW fantasy pre-season now. I'm in a Shiver Grand Final and draft, so it doesn't really matter for anything. It's just whatever's going to happen, it is. So I've been doing that. But one guy I do like that I brought in last week, Noah Anderson against Richmond. I think MCG, good matchup. I just think he'll go well. Obviously, Jeremy Cameron, we mentioned. Zach Fisher is another one against Hawthorn. I think Hawthorn are going to get a lot of, obviously, forward opportunities. So I think Fisher could be an option there. It's just a fair good fixture. So, I want to get your thoughts on Dacos against Melbourne. So Friday night, at worst, you get to look at it for a start. But is he an option? Could you bring him in for the final game? Do you think that he'll get tagged? Do you think that, because I don't know if you saw the photo on socials that Collingwood, their road to make the finals, they need to make up combined 200 points with them, and so they're not going to make it. But so thoughts on Dacos?
I just think a lot of people are going to have him or will have had him at one point in the season. I don't think you need to jump into him. I think there's probably more exciting options, this week. And I always hate bringing someone in, deciding on your trade on a Friday when. But I don't think they'll tag him. I think he'll be good, but I don't really see him with a ceiling like we talked about last week at the moment. So he could have 30, dominate, and score 110. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's a good shout. One thing, Corey's put in a super chat there, which we'll get into in a sec as well with Tim. I just want to go through one player, Nick Newman, St Kilda, and the roof at Marvel.
Yes.
If you don't have him, I think you need him this week.
Yeah, I don't know if needs the word, but he'd be just about the pick of the litter in the back line. Really impressive score on the weekend. We thought he might struggle in the wet, not as many marks, and he just seagulled like he does. He seagulls like the best of them. So he got to the score. It's one of those fixtures that on paper, everything adds up to a big score. Sometimes it's too obvious.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you must have him, but if you're shopping in the back line, I'd certainly be looking at him over Dacos.
Yeah. And then Dylan Moore obviously is another great option as well. I think a lot of us jumped on him last month or so. If you don't have him still, I think North at Tassie could be a pretty good fixture there as well. So I think he is another good option there. Is there anyone else that sort of you look at with obviously you got the fixtures up on your phone there? Is there anyone else you like? Like I don't mind the Brisbane matchup, maybe more for Dunkley, but he's been poor. Like looking at him, maybe like Dawson potentially against Sydney. Is he going to get a tag? That's obviously
It'd be weird, wouldn't it, if they did a hard tag and really played for keeps because it's a dead rubber. Swans can't.
So I think Swans have locked up top spot. I reckon. They have. So
and I think there's a good chance they're going to rest some players. So
Grundy maybe.
Yeah, Grundy looked so banged up last week. It'd be weird if they just kept going, like I know continuity is good, but they get a break anyway. So Riley O'Brien an option? No. No chance.
I was just thinking if there's something to lower the chat. Oh, there it is. So
just in case people think I'm really short or Bails.
He's got
the office chair and I've got this little sofa.
So that's a bit better. Because I was watching it, and for people who are watching it, and just like seeing like me as a giant, and then George's like this miniature guy. But here's just a few super chats he'll get through. So Tim Ashworth's got the first one. Thanks very much for this, mate. He says, in AFLW, who are the locks in each line? Rookies must have in mid-prices. And 7th is my birthday, Jordox Bails. So thanks for super chat, mate. So with that, I think the best place to go for that is me and Jane did a video last week going through sort of our locks and stuff through each line. And we chatted through a few players. We did our team reveals today as well. So that'll give you another good idea of some players to pick. So check that video out, Tim. And we, Jane went through his whole team, went through my whole team. And then next week, we're doing obviously like just going through a few other players as well, sort of last minute touch ups for the season. So, but yeah, make sure you guys, and if anyone else wants to check it out, make sure you do check it out there. So that was up earlier today there. And Tim Asher's got another super chat here. So thanks once again, mate. So he said, would you go Dowling to Dylan Moore and Simpkin to Caleb Daniel, who's 366K, I think, off the top of my head. He scored an 87 last week. He's got the Giants at Mars. And if people know Caleb Daniel at Mars, he can put up a 26
he can.
And put up a bad one.
The very first chat I ever had with Bails was Caleb Daniel versus Dustin Martin in the preseason.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, that long time ago.
Yeah. If you went with either of those options, you'd be miserable. But so we did look into Caleb Daniel and the Mars effect, et cetera. Look, I don't know.
Is 366K though, like if he's like an F7, he'd be an F7, obviously.
Has to be.
You could loop a Fisher.
The only problem is he's an early game on Sunday, so
he'd have to be on field. Like he'd be the perfect one if he was F7. You could loop him. I guess who plays after? I don't know who plays after Dogs on a Sunday.
If you've got Matt Kennedy at F6, F7, you could do it with him.
Jackson. Still going in Philippou, yeah. I've got like Brad Hill. So for example, I could bring Caleb Daniel in and loop Caleb Daniel first.
I just wouldn't trust it. Like
we'll go through our trades after, but I've looked at it. If I can get Philippou in, Hill to Philippou, then I could loop Caleb Daniel and Philippou.
But he's named on the bench. He could be the sub again. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that again.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not making McRae the sub again. He was incredible. So
I like Dowling and Moore, but you're probably saying instead of doing Simpkin or Daniel, you'd probably almost just go Dowling down a rookie. And then, but then again, if he's essentially doing Simpkin to Moore, and Dowling to Daniel, I'd tick it off.
Yeah,
because you can have a look at Daniel, but I don't know if I'd trust him straight on field.
How much is McRae? I actually think he's an interesting shout this week.
Obviously the same game. So it's at Mars. That's the only
concern thing. It wouldn't be for Tim's trade, but it's just got me thinking, how much is McRae? Because What did he do? 80 in like 30%.
Yeah, something like that's crazy.
And they're not playing North again. So
but for Tim though, would you tick that off?
Yeah. You could do it. He's cheap enough to do it.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous about having to field him, and then he's the sub, and then you're stuck. So.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep, Tim, I'd tick with both tick those off, mate. Tim also put another super chat saying, I have 2 super chats. Well, sorry about that. We just was discussing a few parts, but thank you very much for the support, mate. Very much appreciated. Corey Badger's got this super chat here, so thanks, mate. He said, thoughts on Humphreys to Newman, and then an Archer to a Port rookie to loop with Young and Taranto. So I like the first trade, Humphreys up to Newman. That's fine. But essentially just going a red dot Port rookie to loop Young with Taranto. Would you be happy to keep? Would you prefer to go Young just to another player, or do you think that you'd be happy to loop Young and Taranto?
I wonder if you could go Taranto to Newman and do something else with the second trade.
I'd tick it off because you can loop between 2 players, but yeah, that would be something to consider. So
yeah.
Tim has just put the super chat. He says, "Are you guys on holiday?" I'm not. I'm still in Adelaide. Jordox has just come over from Melbourne, and we're just doing a podcast in person tonight, which is pretty good. He heads back tomorrow, so this will be the only one we're doing probably for a little bit. So obviously,
maybe we'll make it a regular thing every Tuesday. Tell the Dale, I'm just going to Adelaide.
Everyone put in all the super chats in the world so that will fund Jordox's flight over here. So, sort of in terms of what are you doing with your trades this week? Have you?
You know what I reckon? I've got no idea what I'm doing, but I know on Sunday night we didn't get to any questions. I reckon we just smash the questions.
What now? Are you talking about that? Yeah, cool. That's what we're doing. See what I mean? In person, he thinks he can direct the show now. So, no,
well, because I don't have a lot to say about my own team this week. So let's just help people with the last round and try and have some fun with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll get to your trades. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Unbelievable. Anyway, but yeah, so we're getting to your questions as well. So if you guys are tuning in live on YouTube or Twitter or even Twitch, we've got a few people over there. So if you want to tuning in there, want to send in your questions live and get them answered ahead of your grand finals in your league matchups, if you're looking for top 100, whatever, send your questions through and we'll get to answering those.
Don't be afraid to throw in draft questions. I mean, draft is a big thing this time of year.
Shiver grand finals all this week, plenty of other draft leagues, grand finals. So, and if you want to send a question through on Q, then head over to Ask Me on Q, spelled QU.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics if you want to get your advice discreetly and in audio form to your email, then make sure you send them through there as well. So beautiful. We're getting to all these questions. So Johnny's got the first one. He said, thoughts on Treloar down to Anderson and Manor up to Jeremy Cameron. So Treloar, Bedford potentially. That's the thought.
I think it's smart, Johnny. Like any other week, I'd say no. But yeah, it's for 1 week. That Bedford tag is fast becoming the tag to watch out for. We know
Anderson's a good option. Yeah. Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah.
Against West Coast.
Oh,
yeah. And I don't know if people saw the news actually we saw when we'll grab a bite to eat before this was that Jeremy McGovern and Tom Barrass are not playing this week. So their key defensive stock is down.
I jumped straight on. I'm in the draft grand final this week. I jumped on to see if Jezza was available, but he's not. So look, it's not guaranteed, but it's like bringing in Tex Walker in round 24 last year.
Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't have the cojones, as my best mate likes to say, to bring Tex in last year, which I should have, because I went to the game live in person, West Coast, and watched it. This year, though, I'm strongly considering, after seeing that news, especially with McGovern and Barrass, about bringing in.
It's cheap. Like Jez is only, I was just looking at 7-11, and his last 4 weeks have been good. He's gone 2 tons and then an 80 and similar.
He gets up the ground as well. It's not just deep forward. And
the only thing, and you could apply this asterisk to any side that has a finals campaign ahead. But if they're winning by 100 points, do they rest him late if he picks up a niggle? But no, I think he'll stay on and he'll want to kick 10 goals. He'll want to join in the party.
I guess that's just the risk, though, if you take it on, right? If you bring in a player like that, maybe F7, that'd be a perfect one if you can loop him, because they play early. They play the first or second game on Saturday.
They play the first game, which is such a pain in the ass. Because West Coast, we use West Coast.
Yeah, all the loops. Yeah, actually, I don't even have a red dot for that. So
But no, it's a good move, Johnny. I reckon go for it.
Yep, I like it. And he said also Dacos and Muscat. Yeah, we're just obviously discussing Dacos for. He's not a Muscat, but I don't mind him. I think Melbourne's a good enough matchup. But we've seen Dacos this year. He had that 4-week stretch, I believe. It might have been like around 8, 9, around the buys or just before, where he had a couple of 130s and a 120 and a 110-ish or whatever. But outside that, he's had a couple of 110 plus, but he hasn't gone 120, 130 like he did last year. So, and I think
Sunday night, he's like a super coach this year. He's not accumulating. Well, he is. I mean, he had 40 touches a few weeks ago, but it's not like he's getting all the marks or all the tackles. And it doesn't mind a goal though. How good was that one?
I don't want to talk about it. That might have cost me my matchup. If you didn't get that 67-point quarter and you got a normal quarter, but yeah, so I lost by 38 points. If you had a normal quarter, well, no, that's all right. Yeah. So we got next one comes from Darren Bro. He says, "Who gets tagged, Bont or Chalor?" That's a good question. It's interesting because when Bedford played the Crows, I didn't think he was going to Dawson at all because Dawson was too big. But he went to Dawson originally, and then he went to Rankin in the second half because Rankin was the best player by far on the ground. Bont seems to me like the obvious player that he's going to go to, but he would probably match up better on Treloar. But then we saw Sydney tag Ed Richards as well. There's Liver. There's like other teams could do funny things. Do you think it's as simple as he's just going to go to Bont? Or do you think
there's nothing simple about this question because I don't think Liver's form has really been there since he came back.
No, Jack McRae. He had 80 in a quarter.
Imagine Caleb Daniel gets a full game and they sit someone on him. So I think you rule out Liver. He's just not been damaging enough. It's Bont or Treloar, and it's a flip of a coin. When I first read that question, first thought was Treloar. I don't know what it is. I just feel like it's Treloar. But
see, my first thought is Bont, but that's probably really saying what we're thinking, right? Like we haven't held down because we don't know. This would be good because Kingsley sometimes comes out and says we'll be tagging Lockie Neal this week or we'll be tagging whoever. The hope is that someone is asking questions, hopefully Drew Jones or something like at the press conference point and says who you're going to be shutting down this week because Dog's got so many, and hopefully they do that or they rest Bedford for the week.
You know what the question is? A better way to ask the question: who would deal with the tag better, Bont or Treloar? So for me, if he tags Bont, I could see Bont still getting to a 90 to a ton.
Whereas Treloar could get a 7.
Treloar could really drop. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe look at it that way.
We did still Treloar get an 85 against North Melbourne. He got tagged from Phillips, so he still can get him. Yeah, I still think he finds a way to get his 20 because I think that was his season of 22 touches. He still managed to get at least 20 touches. If he can tackle his way to an okay score, I don't know if it's you'd have to trade Treloar out or whatever.
I mean, Sarong just scored a 90.
Yeah, 92. Yeah,
on Bedford. But
so, yeah, no, it's a good question. It's going to be something that hopefully we get some news in the next few days, and we can do that. So, Riley Curry, which mid scores the most this week? So,
I'll tell you. Right now, I'm going to pick someone, and it'll be true. The mid that scores the most, geez, wouldn't it just be a Golden running circles around the Crows? He hasn't really been up there yet this year.
I could see Golden ending off with a big score. I'd probably immediately go to Noah Anderson, the MCG against the Tigers. That's the one that screams to me like this could be massive. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, you've got Marshalls up against Pitney. It's a good matchup there as well. And then, but obviously, it's not a mid. So obviously, we're trying to say the mid. But see, now I'm going to captain talk now. It's just like the
X-Men. Because I don't mind Steele on the back of this big one.
Soon as the Blues,
No, I'm going Golden. I just think he'll do it.
I'll go Anderson. So one of those two, I reckon, will be what we're doing there. Ben Hayes got this one. So he said, hey, lads, got 10K in the bank and want to get rid of 3 players. Jeez, how many trades you got this week? I'd love to have more trades.
The cheat code.
Or maybe he's got his FPL hat on. And he's like wild card, like unlimited transfers a week. Oh, how good would that? How good would that be to do that?
I was thinking trading. But he wants to get rid of 3.
He's just taking my job.
So I think he's saying he wants to get rid of 3. Who should it be?
Yes, yeah. We would have got there if I kept reading. Yeah. So obviously he's thinking right, going forward down.
Yeah.
To Anderson pockets you 120K, something like that, and then you use that money on top, and you can go Simpkin to Jeremy Cameron. I would tick it off, and I think You probably would as well, right? Because the risk of a tag, you get in Anderson, who I just said could be the top scorer mid this week.
The other option was Viney, but I would actually say don't with Viney.
Viney is one I like if you can get him definitely M9 because he plays the first game.
Yeah, okay. He just signed on with the D's, so that's it.
Yeah.
Last week,
but could this be a play for people that have got a Bont or have got a Treloar? They loot Viney first. If he goes well, then you go, okay, I can trade Treloar or Bont to another position.
Yeah.
Could that?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, Ben is asking us, Simpkin to Jeremy Cameron, would you be happy to get Viney in, loot that, and if he did poorly, you keep Treloar, keep Bont, and then you go.
But how's he going to get Viney in if he's keeping Treloar?
Utility, but switch.
Yeah, okay.
Whoever you're trading out, if it's
maybe Rivers is the other one.
Yeah, Rivers. So I'd be happy to trade Rivers. Rivers has been too up and down. He's got Collingwood though, so
he's better on the weekend. But
I just think Salem being in the team affects him a lot. We've seen that. So, but no, we both like Jeremy Cameron trade, Ben. So that we definitely look at that one. And and Anderson, I'm a big fan of this week. So. John says, I'm looking at getting Yo and then after that have 879k. Should I go for Walsh, who I know has got St Kilda, Dunkley, who's got the Bombers, or Caldwell's got Brisbane? Or is there anyone else in that price range, or just stick with Max Holmes and upgrade a rookie with 500k?
Getting Yo, that's it. It's different. I like it though.
Who have West Coast got this week?
They're away at Catterall.
Oh, yes. Should have clicked on that. We're talking Jamie Cameron.
Yeah. Dunkley, cool.
I think Dunkley goes well this week, but I don't know if I could recommend someone trading him in after a few of these lower scores, right? It's just...
He's interesting, Dunkley. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but I think if you looked across his career, you wouldn't see many long stretches of shit scores. I reckon he could be due for a big one.
Yeah.
So I like Dunkley because a lot of people will be probably looking there'd be people right now talking about trading him out.
Yeah, like Walsh,
St Kilda. Yep. I think he could finish well, and then they're all good options.
Walsh feels like that player that if you've got him, keep him. But I feel like we don't have him. I don't know if I want to bring him in because you've got Anderson. If you don't have Dunkley, I still think I'd probably prefer to go because he's got the high ceiling. I feel. I know Walsh has had 140s this year, but they have been on the back of like 12, 13, 14 tackles. So. Walsh is, I don't know, I'd almost prefer to bring in Butters against Freo over there. Big game for Port. They need to win this game. So
879 though, is he?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah. See, this again, just me going away in tangent. So just players there. But yeah, 879, I think Dunkley's my pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, or would you do the Max Holmes, have him, and then upgrade a rookie to 500k and get like an extra premium on the bench?
Depends who it is. If you can loop it, and it works, but
so John's saying here, or alternatively, I could go Matt Roberts instead of Yo, and then get a big boy like Butters or Steele. So Roberts has got the Crows.
You know, I wanted to bring this up on Sunday, but we sort of whizzed through that game. I actually found that Callum Mills affected Roberts. Now Roberts still got to a 90 odd.
He had a big third quarter, I think.
But early days, it was just Mills.
Yeah, so I think he was on like 29 at half time, I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe don't look at Roberts is great for next year, but he still needs a good target. But maybe not. I still like the Dunkley play.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer and then get Yo. Yo has been pretty good. Mm-hmm. He's been getting his 100, so I think that he could. I could see that Geelong game. But then again, do you think it's going to be a bit of breeze through free footy? You might only have a couple of tackles and maybe not get his 8-9 tackles. That's the only worry that I may have.
I think people like players like like you got to think about the heat that's on the senior players after when you've got the what do you call it? The coach.
Schofield.
The coach.
Jared Schofield.
What do you call it?
Interim. I thought you were actually saying his name.
You've got an interim coach having pot shots at senior players in the press. Like they're going to come out breathing fire, West Coast. I don't think they'll win. I think Geelong will dispatch them quite easily. But I just think players like that, proud players like Yo, will tackle and will fight.
Well, it comes down to Holmes and. Well, I'd be interested, John, who you can get with Holmes. That would be because I don't mind Holmes this week. I know he's been poor, but West Coast this week, who could you get with Holmes? Like, could you get a Dunkley still? Could it be Dunkley and Holmes? I don't know. Just with Yo, I just worry that he might just get a 75-80 this week. So it could be Geelong just chipping around.
He could, but that's why you're paying less for him. You know, if you want more assurances there, you got to find maybe go Newman or one of the top dogs.
Charlie Schwert's got this question. Rather have Yo and Cameron plus Power F6, F7 or Newman and upgrade Walsh to Anderson? So we're talking about obviously Yo then, and I like Cameron.
Yeah, there's Lupin.
But I think the fact that I think Newman you have to have this week. I would rather have Newman. And if there's another player instead of Walsh, do that. But I think Walsh Anderson isn't a terrible idea. I think it's a good idea with Anderson's fixture. Or would you keep Walsh and maybe do a forward to Cameron and keep Walsh and not worry about Anderson? Do Newman and Cameron and then not worry about Walsh.
Well, can he do that? He's going right. Cameron plus Powell or Newman.
It's like, could you go, because Powell only got like a 70-odd, and I don't even know still what role he plays. He switch everywhere. Would you just go Powell to Jeremy Cameron for the final week? Go Powell to Jeremy Cameron and go Nick Newman in defence, and then just keep Walsh over Anderson for a week.
Yeah.
I'd probably do that, Charlie. Again, if you could do that, then great. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you can do that. Callum Fife, best option to bring in out of Neil, Dunkley, and Tom Green. He's got a second part of the question. We'll do the first one first. So we'll go sort of it. So Neil or Dunkley? Get a pick two. I'm worried about the Caldwell tag for Neil.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee, but yeah, Neil's going to be tagged by Caldwell. Yeah. And look, he fought through it on the weekend, Neil, and where did he score in the end? It wasn't great. 90. Yeah, he did okay, but out of him and Dunkley, it's definitely
and then Dunkley and Tom Green. So Tom Green's got the Dogs at Mars Stadium.
Yeah.
Funny enough, they did play at Manuka last year, the Dogs and Giants, and that was Tom Green's career high 160 or whatever he got. Went massive. 122 last week. Looked good.
Did you see what he was on at quarter time? Like approaching quarter time, he was on.
He wasn't very good.
He was on -1 for half.
Yes, yeah. He wasn't on very much.
So he got really busy in the second half. Dunkley or Green?
I still think Dunkley's got the biggest ceiling this week.
I feel like Dunkley, yeah.
I feel like if you want safety, I think it's Tom Green. I think Tom Green's probably safer to get to 100, but I feel like Dunkley's got the ceiling to maybe go 120. And I guess that's what we're looking for in the last round. One round to go, you want the biggest score possible. So I think Dunkley's probably the guy, I reckon. But a good question.
And he also followed up with Daniels.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, Daniels. I think there's better options. I know that people look at Daniels because of 170. I just think this week there are better options. I think you got Jeremy Cameron, you got Zach Fisher. I still think that the likes of your Flanders, your Zorko, your Dylan Moore, Caldwell. I don't know if I said Caldwell already. The big 4 and 5 mid forwards, I think, are the better ones to have this week.
Daniels will be.
You've missed the 170. You're not getting it.
Yeah. I mean, that was like he may never play a game like that in his life. I mean,
massive.
I was talking to a mate during the week because he has him in a keeper league, and he was saying, "Do I now keep him into next year?" He's only 25, Daniels, and
no, he's a very good player. I think the thing that's sort of stopped him for the first few years of his career was injuries. He just a soft tissue when he's playing really well. It might be a calf or a hamstring or whatever. So,
but I don't know if
he's been good this year. Like he's been able to keep his body fit, and I think he's played every game. Might have missed one, but
it's more the midfield time that I don't think I've ever seen with him. And
he was doing that. I remember when Giant might have been around before COVID. Might have been before COVID. Before he got these injuries, he was this guy that would push up the ground. But then when he got these injuries, they just sort of preserved him forward to not make sure he got injured. But now
he didn't have a lot of CBAs on the weekend. So.
Well, he won the game. He was a big reason why they beat Hawthorn at Manuka. Daniel's going to midfield, and Toby Green is another.
But anyway, for this week, look, he's an option, but
I'd prefer Cameron.
I wouldn't be seduced by 170.
I'd prefer. Would you prefer Fisher over?
Yeah, Fisher's safe, I reckon.
Yeah, I think this week. Yeah, I agree. Ryan Gosling said, thoughts on Young to Newman and Treloar to Brent Daniels because the Bedford tag, or go someone else to Daniels in the midfield. I'd prefer a midfielder over Daniels. So if you can't get anyone, you've talked about him, Toot Miller, 760, Richmond, MCG.
Yeah.
As a 1 week play, that could. I'd prefer Toot Miller over Daniels this week.
Yeah. I like Young to Newman. I like trading Treloar. Yeah, I reckon.
I think you get a midfielder. You want the ceiling. And I know, just saying the ceiling, Brent Daniels has probably got a bit higher score than
Brent 170 Daniels.
Yeah, everyone's got a high score. He's got a high score than most midfielders. But as we said, you don't get the score. Like, he's not going 170 again. And this will be clipped up if he does. But yeah, so yeah, I don't mind. So yeah, let us know, Ryan, how much money you've got in the midfield. Because how much is Daniels? How much is he? Because then we'll probably be able to go price wise for mids and have a look at a couple of mids. There.
Daniels.
He should have this up already.
817. So
817. So yeah, so like midfielders under that price. Like you've got, I mentioned Took. If you want to go right down, you've got Jack Viney, which you can loop. But I guess this is a player that you're playing straight on field, right?
So 817. You've got Noah Anderson's only 844.
Yeah. Well, if you get Norans, because he had a couple of low scores and dropped.
That's so cheap.
Then
you got who Paul got this week?
Freo.
I just like Paul Francis's form, but no. Josh Kelly's under 800.
I can hear MJ.
Yeah. Pip Miller's under 800. Amon is under 800.
Amon is a 1 week play against North, could be okay.
Yeah. And don't be seduced by John Newcomb. That was so.
It's very good, but yeah. No. North are actually a bit of a tough match at the midfield, though, so you're probably not looking at that. I like Took at Richmond against Richmond, the MCG, final game of the season.
What about, because he's chasing a forward, Matt Kennedy. I doubted him last week, and he backed it up with another ton playing the Saints.
He only had one CBA. Role still was. I know that he still scored well. I don't know. I'd rather, if you're looking to fall, if you look at Kennedy, I'd rather just then get Cameron. And I after seeing Niz McGovern and Brass, I'm pretty keen on Cameron this week.
Yeah.
So Tim Lawawu, I always have trouble with that one. I know Tim's put a few questions in there. He said best defender under 761k or hold Sicily. So Sicily, we've seen Eddie Ford has done a number of jobs against North. So he could, and he only got 50 last week, right?
Yeah.
His shoulder's still, like, he's going to have off-season surgery on it. I would be happy to trade Sicily this week. I think you tried last week, didn't work. You move on at 761k. What have we got? What have you got under there? Like
Zach Fisher. He's a defender.
Would you be happy to go Sicily to Fisher? Do you think?
I'm pretty comfortable with Fisher this week. Then you've got Holmes. You got Trent Rivers.
I don't mind Holmes. He just had another ceiling though. Rivers,
Jaden Short.
Oh no.
You could get a bit of ball. Liam Duggan.
I like Duggan.
Yeah. And then under 700, you
got your boy.
Who's that?
Christian
Salem. He was good on the weekend.
I don't know if I could do Sicily with Salem though.
Who are they playing? Yeah, well, maybe.
You could. If you're getting Salem, I want him as a D7 and you can loop him. I wouldn't want. If you're going Sicily out, he's going to be on field for you.
Yeah. And he's just short of Dan Rioli right at the top. I don't mind him.
What was Amon?
He's 761. So
you're if you can get Amon, that probably would be our pick as the upside play against North.
He said under 761, not exactly 761.
Yeah, well, if you can't get Amon, is it Fisher?
I reckon.
I don't mind Duggan as well as a 1 week play, but yeah, Fisher's probably the guy, to be honest. Could go quite well. Brendan's got this question: who wins this matchup? So Stewart, Rosie, Butters, and Myers up against Brayshaw, Sarong, Fisher, and Young. So 3 Freo guys, they're all against Port, which isn't what you want. And then Fisher, which is good. But then Stewart, Rosie, Butters, Myers, I think the first 4.
Yeah, because I can see Myers having a day out against the Eagles.
Even though he hasn't been good at GHP last 6 or so. But
Stewart, he does what he does. And then, those 2 boys, Rosie, Butters. It's an interesting matchup, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the first 4 for me. I reckon.
If it sounds like he's got a classic matchup or a grand final or something.
Well, hopefully, Brendan, you got the first 4 because I like the first 4.
But even if you don't like last game is going to be epic.
Yeah,
It's gonna be very
you've
good,
got,
but it's
out of the
very
eight, out of the eight, you've got you got what is it for 5?
Oh, 5. Sorry.
Yeah, 5 of them. So yeah, crazy. So no, good luck, Brendan, with your matchup this week. Hope you get it done. Riley Curry, do you guys tick off Merritt to Anderson and Simpkin/Manor to McDonald or Philippou? So McDonald, is that which McDonald is that? Is that Logan McDonald?
I don't know. McDonald. You've got us there, Riley.
It wouldn't be Tom McDonald. Logan McDonald. I wouldn't be. I don't know if I'd be doing that.
Well, maybe he's thinking Logan can do what Joel Amati did.
Oh no, because he spelled it wrong in there. Connor McDonald.
Oh, Connor McDonald.
Yeah, I realised because I said MC, and I'm like,
yeah,
Logan. So, yeah. Sorry.
It's been a long year, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the second half.
So essentially saying Simpkin to McDonald or Manor to Philippou. So like you're doing the Merritt. So what do you think? Firstly, Merritt Anderson.
Well, I was going to come back to that.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to
the
that.
second part. I like Simpkin to McDonald or Philippou.
Which one would you do though?
This
is probably where this comes probably down to your loops, right? If you can loop one and look at the other.
Yeah.
So
I'm loving what McDonald's doing at the minute.
So because Connor McDonald plays early, he plays first Twilight Saturday. You have to loop him, see how he goes, and you can play Philippou.
Mm-hmm.
At worst case, because if he didn't, you could. Oh, but no, actually, yeah, I would do Simpkin to McDonald because you can loop Manor first. Manor plays the game before.
Yeah.
Before McDonald.
But out of McDonald and Philippou, who are you bringing in?
McDonald.
Yeah.
You got the safety of not being sick, and Carlton is still a tough matchup as well, right? So, because if you go Manor to Philippou, you then loop into Philippou. I feel like Manor could go just as well as Simpkin, if not better, because Geelong are expect to win, and Connor McDonald we've seen last month it's gone really well.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that.
And then the first part, Riley, depends on Jarrett Berry.
I don't think Merritt gets tagged this week.
No.
I don't think Berry will play. He did a hamstring. I'm just going to get.
Well, it was a test. So
if there's any potential risk, they're not going to play him. It's a week before finals.
But we'll know on Thursday. So
yeah,
if Berry's playing, are you happy with Merritt this week, or you want to get rid of him?
If you can trade Anderson, I'll take it off.
If Berry's not playing, would you do that trade?
Probably prefer to keep Merritt because if he doesn't get tagged. But then again, Jasper Fletcher and Calamarchi did the job on day cost minus 1 quarter. If you take that quarter away, he only scored, 39 points, right?
He's a proud man though, Zach Merritt, and that was crap.
Wait, 39 or 49?
Who?
Dacos after he got a 116, scored 67 in the 1 quarter.
Yeah.
My maths is awful at the moment. Long year.
Well, I think Merritt bounces back. Unless Berry's in his pocket.
And Merritt will be disappointed. They can't make finals now, so he'll want to go on a high, considering that, unfortunately, 2 more days for the Bombers for the final. So, Just a Human, the Alien. Watched that movie last night. Pretty good.
So he's established.
I don't. Just being stupid. Don't know why I said that. No one really cares how well I thought about the movie last night. He said, do you like the idea of Jackson Mead and James Peatling to Dylan Moore and Jackson Binns? I've got Philippou on the bench, who I'll put on field. So obviously he'll be able to play Philippou.
I didn't mind Binns. I thought
Binnsy.
He scored well. He was doing nothing early.
I'd be happy to do that. Peatling we saw last week with Canelio back just crashed his scoring, and Mead. You're not going to want me in your team. No. And at the end of the day, Philippou, you get to play him. He's probably not going to be that much worse than F6, and we've seen him be better as long as he's all good to go. So, I like Dylan Moore. We both like Dylan Moore this week. So Tim Asher's got another super chat here as well. So he just says he said he can go Dowling to Jack McRae and Young to Holmes.
Oh, you could. I mean. See where
the only
named. If he's named anywhere near that bench,
he'll be none. He's always named on the bench.
Yeah, but he was so good last week. He might be named. When Briley West is out, who else?
Obviously, Dowling to McRae is an F7 play, right? So, again, this would be a lot better if McRae played early in the round. You could loop him, but because he plays late, if you get stuck with him on field and he's sub, I don't know. I feel like the McRae, unless you've got.
Well, it's similar to the conversation we had about Caleb Daniel at the start.
Yeah, if you had a Matt Kennedy after, I could tick it off, but yeah, it's a bit risky for me this week. I think you want your guys like your Jeremy Camerons. You guys have got big upside. I don't think McRae's got. I know he scored 80 in.
Yeah, I don't know if he
Giants at Mars Stadium. I don't know
if he plays a full game. You're probably right.
Yeah.
But geez, he looked good.
Yeah, he did look good. Detached Edits says Walsh to Anderson, looping the Pooh and Fisher. So obviously Walsh Anderson we spoke about before. Are we? If that's a trade, are we still ticking it off?
Walsh Anderson, looping the Pooh and Fisher. Yeah, that's a good play.
I'd still tick it off, but obviously it depends on the other trades and stuff like that. Yeah, I was going to go back to that. Yeah, Darcy Duran says, I'm going Showmaker to a basement rookie and going Manor up to someone in the 905k range. Who would you go? Well, it depends because, forward or mid, that's the
thing. Probably anyone if it's a forward.
Well, it's forward. I'm assuming it would be midfielder because...
Let's look at the mids. 905.
905 essentially gets you most. If I'd still like Anderson as my favourite in that price. I think Steele and Butters are out of that price range. I think you can't get those guys.
You got Brayshaw.
I wouldn't do it against Port, I don't think.
What did you say? Above 905? Oh, the 905 range. You know who I actually like, and I'm not joking, Matt Crouch. He can finish with a 120.
Against Sydney at the SDG?
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather almost Dawson. Maybe that's just my bias at Dawson kicking in.
I don't afford. No, I don't know what that is.
Dawson's 840.
Yeah.
He dropped me because he had the concussion game.
That's right.
But Dawson's been good. 104, 126, 132.
Did they put Jordan?
As we've mentioned that before. I don't think they tag, to be honest. I think they rest a couple, as you said.
Although,
and they're not going to, and obviously people that are listening to this, they're not going to rest like 10 players.
No.
Because they got the pre-finals by, I think Grundy will get a rest. I think guys like that, like Grundy will get a rest.
I would argue, so devil's advocate, right, on the not tagging. James Jordan has been the best tagger for them for the year. It's worked well. They've got finals coming up. Adelaide are a reasonably competitive side. Why wouldn't you tag and continue what you've been doing to practice for finals?
Yeah, so maybe you just don't target Dawson just because of risk. But Matt Crouch could be someone, but I still think under 905k, I'm still going Anderson, personally.
Yeah. So
as the upside play,
I'm going Matt Crouch. I'm feeling wacky tonight. It's the last one. Let's have some fun.
Could Anderson get tagged by Graham? It's the last game of the season. I don't think Richmond are going to be running tags. I think Graham played last week, didn't he? Did he play last week?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did, and he didn't look at Newcombe at all. So
yeah, Graham. He did play, yeah.
Yeah, he did a job on Sarong. He hasn't really done anything else outside of that, so I'm not concerned with the tag with Anderson there.
But I think Anderson will be fine.
Cameron Warren. Hey, fellas, after last week, I hate my team. Do you like your team?
I haven't for a month.
And we know Tim doesn't like his team.
I've got a good team. They just don't score.
But he said, please rank order of trade out of Clark, Sicily, Merritt, Simpkin, McKercher. So who are you trading out, Clark or Sicily?
Is that Geordie Clark?
Yep.
Probably Clark. I back Sicily in for one more.
Yeah, you're probably right. Clark or Merritt?
Just because it's like for that ceiling.
Yeah. Clark or Merritt? I'm trading Clark for Merritt.
Yeah.
Especially if Barry's not named.
Yeah.
Clark or Simpkin, and then McKercher's the final one. I'd be keeping McKercher out of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going Simpkin with Cameron. Because in defence, you've most people have already got Whitfield. She's obviously injured. You've probably got Stewart already. Sinclair's been a popular target. He's probably the other one. Then Nick Newman. They're probably the main four people have got. If you've got those four, I don't feel like there's another defender that could go absolutely massive this week, whereas Jeremy Cameron could go 130. Since that Barras and McGovern aren't playing.
It's almost too obvious.
Yeah.
It'll be something like...
But then again, the text one was too obvious, but it still came through massive. So, and that was with McGovern and Barras, I'm pretty sure, that game last year.
For Coleman, though.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is...
Jeremy Cameron kicks 20. Might be able to get there.
All I'll say is I just wouldn't be surprised if we all trade in Jezza and then Gary Rowan scores 150 or something stupid like that.
You mentioned that when we were having bloody dinner. You were saying about Gary Rowan going potentially big, but no, I think Simpkin for you over Jordan Clark.
Yeah.
I still feel like Jordan Clark against Port. I know it's a tough matchup, but I could just still see Jordan Clark he's been getting 90s every week. Whereas Simpkin has been getting 60s and 70s.
Simpkin crawls to 70 odd every week. He's terrifying as an owner that a 50s are in the corner.
Agreed.
He just refuses to get the pill. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm just nervous with Simpkins. So Simpkins out for us, I think, and then Clark's probably next, and then probably Sicily. Detached says Dunkley is playing roles. He's playing defensive mid. When Dunkley can do his thing, he does insane. I don't think he's going to do any roles this week for Essendon because
he could do a light one on Merritt if Berwick's on there.
He could, but he didn't do the Dacos role last week, and that was after Berry got injured. They used Fletcher and Archie. So I could just see Dunkley going, well, he needs to get back into form before finals.
Yeah.
I could see
but it's a good point.
It is.
Makes that because we're kind of saying we're all sort of up in arms like what's happened to Dunkley, and it sounds like what you're saying is right. He's playing more of a role than being the freewheeling, tackling, marking machine we've grown to love.
Yeah. Just shout out to everyone that's putting the question. We're getting through heaps of questions, and there's still heaps rolling through, and it's round 24. A lot of people switched off, so appreciate the people sending in all their questions. The people listening live has obviously dipped a little bit since the beginning of the season, but we're still getting a few. So thanks, everyone. So keep sending through your questions. Go live about another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll keep answering a few more questions till then. So Callum, 5-minute grand final. So congrats, mate. He says, should I just bring in players that they have or be unique? So this is a good question. I hear the traders talk about it every year on their pods as well. What's your stance in terms of, is it just as simple as if you think you're going to win, play it safe in terms of block the players that they've got that could hurt you? And if you think you're going to lose, go for a bit of a Hail Mary, like a Jeremy Cameron. I've mentioned Jeremy Cameron a lot, but I'm obviously the point being, do you go for someone like that could go massive?
Back in the day, before rolling knockouts, you have to decide this on the Friday, right? You don't now. So I would go in and have a bit of a plan A, plan B. So obviously it's hard to know without knowing your matchups and whatnot. If you have a Friday night that goes really well, you could play more defensive. If you have a Friday night that's pear-shaped, you're on the back foot already on a Saturday, then you start looking at unique. So what I do, if you've got the time and sort of map out, if I'm tracking well, what are the defensive moves I'm going to make? If I need a Hail Mary, what are the attacking moves I'm going to make? But have that sort of plan based on where the sides are playing throughout the weekend. So you might not have too many matchups until the Saturday night. So then maybe all your trading's for Sunday to just wait and see. That's how I do it.
It's a good point. Yeah. I still think that I've always been, if you think you're going to still win, just do the trades you think are best. There
is a risk. And it's different in AF because in head-to-head you can't see what your opponent's doing, can you?
No. You got to go. That's why it'd be good if your opponent's ranked in the top 100 because then you just add their scores and go, oh, Shoonie's brought this player in. You add the score up and it goes, like that. But it's obviously frustrating.
I guess, what Bails is saying is you're in a grand final for a reason. So back in the way you've been playing.
That's how you got there. So exactly.
Good luck, mate.
Good luck, mate. Even though I backed myself in last week and still lost. I've been so unlucky when it comes to grand finals. Like made 2 football grand finals, lost both. Haven't won a fancy grand final for a long time.
Yeah,
absolute cursed. So haven't even seen the Crows win a grand final. So but anyway, this podcast is not about Bails. This is about answering questions. So we'll keep going. Riley Curry, good Jezza versus McDonald.
It's got to be Jezza.
If you want just a safe 90, 100, I think McDonald. If you want the ceiling play, it's obviously Cameron.
Yeah.
Is it just as simple as just Cameron for you, just in both?
It is. Just because, I don't think there'll be a huge margin if they both have poorer games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think there'd be a pretty big margin if they both have whoppers, and that puts Jezza ahead.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy Cameron as well. I agree. Ryan Golding, Took over Dacos or Viney for 1 week play. So if you had to pick between Took, Dacos, and Viney,
this is Josh Dacos.
Yes, Josh Dacos against Melbourne.
Yeah, I like Took. out of that.
If there was a way you could get Viney and then loop into Took, I'd do that. But so Viney got 140 last week. No Oliver, no Petrarca.
I know, but
Collingwood.
it's so silly, but that was a contract game. Now he's signed.
Now he's got now he's signed. Now he just goes, I was one going to go, put the feet up. Yeah. I don't mind Took this week. I still feel like we've seen how frustrated Damien Hardwick's been. I feel like a lot of these players are playing for roles and this spots next year. We're not saying by any shape or form Took is playing for this spot. So we're not saying Took is playing for like a list spot, but is he playing for potentially like a full-time mid spot next year? Because we've seen Flanders has come into the midfield, played well. Anderson and Rowell are still there. They've got obviously younger guys coming through. They're not just going to kick Took out, but do you think this is a big game for Took in terms of?
I agree with everything you're saying. I don't think this is a big game for that. I think that decision won't be based on this week.
And people are going to be hearing that same Bails just talking crap. I'm just creating a bit of the
no. It's a good point because I think it's a good point for next year. He's going to be underpriced, Took, but I wonder if that role does shift a bit. But for this week, he's a couple of weeks back now. A couple of weeks back from his injury.
I don't know
really disappointing.
I don't know if
Gold Coast last week. I reckon he'll have a big one.
I don't know if Gold Coast played the MCG this year, but I know the last time I remember Took playing the MC was against Colin when he got a 140. I don't know if I know it's a couple of years ago, but obviously we know Gold Coast doesn't play many games at there. So there you go, Brendan. I can't have a podcast without Jordox bringing up Salem. No, that's exactly right. I can't go to the football without Jordox. He's still got to do it. I remember when walking out of the Hawthorn Crows game, and you're like, "Do I go Salem or Stewart?" And you went Salem. He got injured, and Stewart then went off and
no, I went Stewart.
Oh,
and it was crap.
You just can't get it right. You can't get it right. Stewart, Salem. Any player starts with S, you're just like, no hope. So, what do we got here? So, Harry Thomas, is Clark a trade? Yeah, I think John Clark's a trade. Yeah, if you can trade him out, I think he is. Riley Curry, so he says now put Philippou in the Jeremy Cameron and McDonald mix. I still say I've got Jeremy Cameron over. Have you still got McDonald over? I think I've probably got McDonald over Philippou now just because of the fact that Philippou's now missed 2 weeks with illness.
And Carlton are tricky, you were saying, as a matchup.
Well, yeah. Like Carlton playing to make a spot in the 8. Like to keep their spot in the
8. Yeah, probably still Jezza.
Oh, no, I took McDonald with Philippou. I was saying, would you have McDonald?
Sorry.
I'd still have McDonald over Philippou.
Yes, yeah.
So even in person. They would see that
it's certainly a different dynamic.
Yeah,
being
you keep paying. I feel like we've been paying each other out this whole time.
Good.
So Double Dummy says, "Howdy all, Sicily out first. I wish I had the trades to have gone to Amon. I did say it was a good pick for last 2 rounds. Yes, no, Double Dummy. I remember you selling the watch longs and stuff that you liked Amon for last, so it's been pretty good. So, no, shout out to you, mate. Very good pick there." Corey Blades, is there any pod VCs this week? So obviously my captain's video will come out on Thursday, but I still think that any pod VC is going to be outside of Cherry and Marshall because Cherry's got Hawthorn down at Pig Park. I guess Cherry's wanting to be a future pig the way he performs.
He let a lot of people down last week. Yeah, and then at 120.
We got to that point where only a 120. It's like 120 you definitely take.
Well, think about people that took on Marshall's 131.
A few people did. I know there's a few people even at the top as well that took it on.
Yeah.
But luckily, it only cost you 9 points. Could have got we've seen other stuff.
I would have. I had because I went Goulden. I was trying to be different.
I think it's certain situations would have said to me to take it on, but
so some pod viters.
I've mentioned him before. Top scoring mid Anderson against Richmond.
He'll
be pod VC.
Jeremy Cameron's here.
Could you imagine?
Go on. What?
That Jeremy Cameron VC as well. That if you want a pod VC, Corey, that Jeremy Cameron's it, right? Like I haven't really done my top 10 yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if I put Jeremy Cameron near the bottom of the 10.
Don't play Saturday night if we think there's a bounce back game and a big ceiling.
I think Marshall's the captain coming in on Sunday against Carlton.
Yeah, well they've got Pitnet, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Marshall we had a running ragged pretty much. So yeah, pretty much. And I still think any play outside of Cherry and Marshall is a pod VC. So yeah, but I think Anderson and Cameron are probably 2 really good shouts. I think both are unique. Cameron has obviously got the matchup. So
what about even a Dylan Moore against North at Tassie. He has a
Dylan Moore.
He's got a big score in him, but But to your point, it's got to be a big score to not go for Marshall on a Sunday.
Ryan Gosling, Jezza or Took? Is it Jezza?
I think it is.
I think it is as well.
I mean, it's an odd pairing, like a mid and a forward. So it's probably depends on what the rest of the squad looks like. But on paper, I'd say, let's just do it.
Jeremy Garrett, bring him in.
Just for every future question, if it's Jezza involved, get Jezza.
Oh, double dummies. Tom Stewart, a good VC smoky.
It's West Coast. Yeah.
At GMHBA, there could be a lot of junk at the end. A lot of what they say, waxing. A lot of waxing.
Yeah. No, look, certainly as a vice for sure, but I don't know. I'm not seeing that sort of ceiling out of him at the minute. And
we have seen in games where he wants to go big. We Crows fans.
Yeah.
Show the 170 or 160.
If you think Geelong are going to trounce West Coast, there's not going to be too much need for lots of backwards kicky, chippy.
Maybe they just want to get Cameron Eva goals, and
it'll be all going down to Jezza.
Yeah. Yes. Corey, he said he took on Marshall last week. So who'd you have captain, Corey? That'd be interesting to know. Double dummy. Early in the year, backs v Saints were as profitable as rucks v Cats, but now not so much. So no, it's a good point. Saints have been a little bit more restrictive for defenders. Obviously, Stewart didn't go too well last week. I just think Newman.
Well, Stewart's more mid anyway.
Yeah, and obviously this is more probably about Newman with the defenders, but I think Newman gets it done in multiple ways. Like he doesn't just take marks. He has. I think every game since the bye, only one game's been less than 4 tackles for Newman.
Impressive.
So I still think that Newman can get it done. So I like Newman still. And then in terms of rucks v Geelong, obviously Stanley we know is a bit more restrictive than De Koning and Blitzarv. So but obviously we're not looking at obviously the West Coast rucks this week.
Bailey Williams could be good.
Probably not. Riley Curry, Newman captain. Was thinking unique like an Ando into Newman.
You're the Newman guy. You enter because every week he's been good.
I still think you go Marshall captain in that game.
Yeah,
Marshall's too big to pass up. You still don't want to just go like silly for silly's sake. You don't want to just go unique VC. I like the unique VC like Anderson VC or Jeremy Cameron or a Dylan Moore or something like that. But I don't think I'd go into it. I still think you got to like Marshall's. It's not even like Marshall's just a safe captain. Marshall's got a ceiling. Seen it multiple times. So I think Marshall's the guy you're going in that game. And we'll go final question here because we're nearly at the hour mark. So Corey Blackday said Cherry thought he would go big, but gave a few too many frees away and didn't go bigger in that second quarter. And that was a good point why he probably didn't go that 140. So Ryan's got last question. Said, who's the biggest trade out priority in the midfield?
Who is playing Bedford?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Probably Treloar.
Is it Treloar? Yeah.
Because like we said, even if it is the Bont tag, I wouldn't trade Bont out based on that. I think he's
Sarong against Port. Would you think it's such a big game for Freo if they're still alive for finals?
Well, the biggest trade out.
But then does Drew go to him though?
He could do, but when you're saying biggest trade out priority, it's which midfielder could you see scoring 60 this week? Now, I didn't see it happening to Merritt last week.
It was his only score under 78 this year, and his only second score below 85, I think.
Yeah. So who's a mid that could do that? And
probably Treloar, but then
it's harsh on Treloar, but it's more about Bedford than Treloar.
Yeah. So perfect. Alrighty. Well, I reckon that will probably wrap us up for the Q&A tonight. So first one in person, thought it didn't go too bad. So a bit of a different dynamic than what we normally do. So we'll let us know anyway in the comments on YouTube. Let us know what you thought.
It's easier in person to interrupt and speak over Bails. So I've liked it. It's been good.
Unbelievable. But yeah, let us know in the comments on YouTube as well if you guys enjoyed the live interaction in person. It's a bit hard. Obviously, I'm in Adelaide. Jordox is in Melbourne. Tim's in Perth. So we definitely obviously can't get too many. But hopefully we get one in the future where it's just us three in person. So
get one done.
Gather around, mate. Yeah.
I'm keen on coming for that.
Yeah, hopefully Timmy's going to come over as well. So yeah, beautiful. All right. Well, as always, Jordox, mate, where can the people find you and anything else you want to quickly plug in and say before we let the people go?
So I'm on X at Jordox 2020. hopefully one more week of being on AFL subs. I'm getting terrible with that. Yeah, just
one more week, mate. You've got to be on the ball this week.
Yes, switch on. Sorry, kids. Get out of it. Right? And yeah, and look, just good chance to thank Bails for having me on and let me join the pod this year. It's been really, really fun.
Being your chauffeur tonight.
Yeah, I love yeah. And I've loved I really loved it. I love getting to, recognise the names and the questions that come through and yeah, it's a great little community we've got here. So looking forward to a big break, and then rock and roll in 2025, and it'll be bigger and better than ever. So.
Yeah. Well, there's no rest of the fantasy wicked because AFLW fantasy starts next week, next weekend. So which is fantastic. So we've got that FPL start on the weekend, NFL starts of the week. It's all happening. It's like footy finishes, but then all the other sports start. So fantasy for me continues to roll on. So obviously we're doing AFLW fantasy content this upcoming season. As mentioned, with Jana Poposki is my co-host there for the upcoming season, which is fantastic. We did our team reveals earlier today. So make sure you guys check out that, especially people that haven't, even if you haven't played yet and you're sort of thinking about doing a team, sort of you can maybe take a couple of the players that maybe me and Jane have taken on board and put them in your team. Obviously, this is the free kick as well. Obviously, they do great content there. So they're probably places you go for that. And Sliding Doors do some written stuff on there, especially with Bolter, so which is good. So make sure you check that out for your pre-season stuff. Then we do have an AFLW Fantasy Fanatics Open League as well there. So if you guys are doing it, then make sure you join that league. See who is the biggest AFLW Fantasy Fanatic at the end of the season. So looking forward to that one. And you can find me at Bails DT across the socials as well. And you can find Tim at TimGuestAU. You can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans as well on Twitter. I'll be back tomorrow for the Trade Talk video as always, the final one for the season, then Captain's Thursday and all the usual stuff. And we'll be live for the pre-lockout chat, final one of the season, and then our season review, where hopefully we'll be able to get the winner of AFL Fantasy on with us. I'll be rooting for Tom United, so hopefully we can get it done. Looking forward. Hopefully Mitch can get top 10. That's the other one. So yeah, perfect. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcasting, would be so kind, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That'd be very much appreciated. Let us know your thoughts in the reviews as well, what you thought of the upcoming season. And you can show criticism if you want anything added next year, whatever you want. Any reviews is always greatly appreciated there and does help us out a lot. So thank you to everyone that's done that so far. And obviously, if you want to ask me questions, head over to askmeonq.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics as well for all that. So anyway, we're signing off for the pre-lockout chats. We'll be back on Friday for our pre-lockout chat. So thanks, guys. And we'll catch you then. See ya. All right, beautiful. Thanks, everyone, tuning on YouTube. Make sure you smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 2.7K, so make sure you do subscribe and like. And we'll chat to you on Friday. Thanks, guys.